All praise to Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah, double line to the Apostle GMS. This is Anwar Allah coming at you in the video. In this video, I want to focus on the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 31. So let's get right to it. As a matter of fact, I want to start with this scripture. I'm going to start with another one. I'm going to start with this right here. Proverbs, Leviticus 19:32. It says, "Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head, and honor the face of the old man, and fear thy power. I am the Lord." First, look at that word, rise up. Quam. Rise. Rise, stand, rise up, stand up. That's real deep there. So you're supposed to stand up in the presence of, the aged. Look at the word hoary head. Shayaba. Age, gray hair, hoary head, old age, gray hair, hoary head, old age. So you ought to rise up before the hoary head, right? And you gotta honor the face of the old man. You gotta respect him and fear thy power. I am the Lord. So we know what a hoary head is, right? And let's go into this scripture. Proverbs 16, verse 31. It says, the hoary head is a crown of glory, if it be found in the way of righteousness. So we know the hoary head is talking about the aged, the gray hairs. And it says the hoary head is a crown of glory, if it be found in the way of righteousness. Because there's a lot of people out there that have hoary heads, that have gray hair, but it's not necessarily found in righteousness. There's old people out there that have age, people out there who have age and got gray hairs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're righteous. That doesn't mean that they have wisdom. Here's the book of Job, chapter 32, verse 7. I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. Right? So days should speak, and a multitude of years teach wisdom. Days and a multitude of years is a sign of what? Experience, right? But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth him understanding. So what it's doing is it's clarifying, yes, days should speak, and a multitude of years should teach wisdom. So with time, yeah, you acquire experience, you acquire wisdom, but it says there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth him understanding. So ultimately, it's not necessarily about being aged, it's the Almighty that giveth him understanding. Because there are people out there who are aged, like I stated before, through the Spirit, who have a hoary head, gray hairs, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have wisdom. Why? Because the inspiration of the Almighty, giveth them understanding. So ultimately, the understanding coming from who? Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah. See? You gotta understand that. It comes from Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah. Great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment. So it's giving you more of a clarification there, that great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment. Because you got people out there that's aged that's not wise. People out there that's aged that don't understand judgment. Alright? You understand that. There's a lot of people out there that's aged but don't necessarily got knowledge, don't necessarily got wisdom. You understand? You gotta take that into account. You gotta understand that. A lot of people don't get that. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't get that. Like, okay, yeah, cool. You got this, because you got people that's old in the church. Oh, that person been in the church for 30 years, been in 40 years. They've been there all this time. But that don't mean they got experience. You got people that's old, they're still eating swine. You got people that's old in church and they shave their beard. You got people that's, it was a part of the old school that was in Israel years ago. Talking about, calling themselves Israelites. They was doing this years ago. You may still see them on the internet, but they may have lineups. They may have their facial hair shaved off. Not necessarily, not teaching the word of Yahweh correctly. They're teaching it wrong. Because great men They may be great in the eyes of people, but that don't mean they're wise. And just because they're aged, it don't mean they understand judgment. Job chapter 12, verse 12. It says, with the ancient is wisdom and length of days in length of days understanding. So the age is wisdom and length of days of understanding. So take that into account. The scriptures that I read prior. It don't always come in length of time. But ancient wisdom and length of days of understanding. But take that in mind. It got to be found in righteousness. And the Almighty has to give you understanding. Okay? So ultimately, if a person is aged, it don't mean that they're wise. You got to be aged and you got to come up and maturing in the understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahshua in the scriptures. That's ultimately what gives you your wisdom. Okay? That's what makes somebody an elder. Through the experience that they have and the application of the scriptures. That's ultimately what makes them wise. What makes them an elder. Alright? Titus 2:2. That the aged men should be sober. Meaning clear-minded. So you got to be focused. Look at the word sober.
Strong's G 3524. Nephalios.
Sober, temperate, abstaining from wine, and either entirely or at least from its immoderate use, of things free from all wine as vessels offerings. So they got to be sober, they got to be temperate, meaning they got to be balanced. Not too much on this end of the spectrum, not too much on the other end of the spectrum. So they got to be experienced, balanced. Okay? Vigilant. See, your here says vigilant. But ultimately, you learn that through the scriptures. Learning conduct through the spirit. Grave, meaning you got to be. What's the word grave? Grave meaning behavior. Serious, grave, solemn, sedate. Let's get a better definition. Take it right here. A great personality describes someone who is quiet, serious, and solemn in their behavior or appearance, showing a weighty dignity and thoughtfulness rather than lightheartedness. They often exhibit a somber mood, don't joke much, and are more concerned with important or weighty matters. See that? Check that out. That's the spirit. That's what it means to be grave. You got to be quiet. You got to be serious. Now, I don't mean you're going to be like that literally all the time. But these are the traits you got to show most of the time. Seriousness, solemnity, thoughtfulness, unexpressiveness, contextual. There's a lot that I could read here, but I kind of want to get into this. I might do another lesson on this. Through the spirit. I might do another lesson on this. Through the spirit. So I can get a little more scripture on this topic. This is Wisdom of Solomon 4:9. But wisdom is gray hair unto men, and the unspotted life is old age. So wisdom is the gray hairs of men. That gray hair shows that they're old, they got experience. Obviously has to be found in righteousness. And the unspotted life is old age. Let's start from verse 8 as a matter of fact. For honorable age is not that withstanding for the length of time. So it's not about how long you've been around. So it's not about how long you've been around. So for honorable age is not that withstanding the length of time, nor that is measured by number of years. So it's not about the length of time or number of years. But wisdom is the gray hair unto men, and the unspotted life is old age. The gray hair unto men signifies that they're elders, that they're aged, that they have experience and righteousness, of course. And the unspotted life is old age. So unspotted life is what signifies old age. The unspotted life is what? Living a life of righteousness. That's what signifies old age. You live in that life righteously and you grew in spiritual maturity. That's what signifies old age. That's what signifies you being the elder. That's what signifies you being experienced. And that stuff takes time. You know? People try to rush into that like this is going to happen because you just try hard. I'm going to be elder. I'm going to be wise and old. No, it don't work that way. The Most High gives you to understand. We read about that in Job 32. So this is something that we got to take into account. He pleased the Most High and was beloved of him, so that living among sinners he was translated. Now that right there is going into Enoch, how Enoch walked with the Most High. But with that, I'm going to close. I'm going to say, oh, praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua. Double line to Apostle GMS. I hope your brother learned something. I might do another video on this to go deeper. Most because I wanted to get to. But that I'm closing to your praise. How about you, Shah? Double line to Apostle GMS. I hope your brother learned some. Shalom.